stories about, is Jordan Love Packers going to get paid? Is Tua going to get paid? Trevor Lawrence getting paid? Jared Goff just got paid. And I was thinking about this because the Celtics, the Larry Bird exception, I'm going to get to this in a second, but I'll twist it all together. So if you were going to pay quarterbacks based on 4 factors, and I think most of us would agree on the 4 factors, which is, are you productive? Are you highly productive? Do you have success? Does your team win and win in the postseason? This isn't baseball. You got to win games when it matters, not just compile stats. Are you reliable? Are you healthy? Are you available? And number 4 is, do you have leverage? Every negotiation, I don't care if you're an attorney, a doctor, a quarterback, a landscaper. If you got leverage, you get more money. And if I had to take every quarterback in the league based on those 4, Mahomes is the highest paid guy in the league. Josh Allen is 2. And by number 3, we can argue. I love Lamar Jackson. I'd probably put him there, but health concerns, he get hurt, and he hasn't been great in the playoffs. Joe Burrow, yeah, but he can't stay healthy. Justin Herbert, talented, but hasn't won enough. Tua, concussions? Let's be honest about that. It's a concern. Jalen Hurts, what has he done without Shane Steichen? He's had 1 elite year of production. I love Matt Stafford, but he's getting older, and he gets dinged up a lot. Kyler Murray, talent, yes. Commitment, meh. Trevor Lawrence, another guy I like, but he's not as good as I thought, or as most people thought. He's good, not special, at least so far. In fact, I could make an argument, though he's not flashy, and you'll push back, that number 3 in terms of those 4, let's look at those 4 again. Productive, team and playoff success, health and reliability and leverage. Number 3 could be Jared Goff. Laugh all you want. Burrow's always hurt. Goff's been to a Super Bowl, lost 2, and never is. So what do you do? Well, this is where Dak is interesting, is that one of the toughest decisions in the league is Dak. When he's healthy, you can win 10, 11 games. When he's healthy, 500 or better. He would have a market. No question, the Raiders would take him tomorrow if he was available. And the truth is, Jerry Jones is petrified of being irrelevant. Jerry's ego feeds on relevance. Dak's your quarterback. He's upright, irrelevant. What do you do with him? His record.
I mean, I have a lot of issues with Jerry Jones, but that's not entirely fair. Everybody wants to be relevant. Nobody doesn't want to be relevant. Colin wants to be relevant. Okay, that's why he's talking about the Cowboys all the time, because they have a massive fan base, which he's admitted himself. I want to be relevant. Everybody wants to be relevant. And again, Jerry Jones has lots of issues, but to call him out for wanting to be relevant because of his ego, that to me is just that's like unfair. We can rip Jerry Jones apart plenty if we want, but saying that he has an ego, therefore, he wants to be relevant because of his ego. Everybody wants to be relevant. That's human nature. Just like everybody wants oxygen and water and food. So I think that's unfair.
Is 73 and 41. So in the NBA, they have something called the Bird exception. And there's the early Bird exception. There's a lot of them. What it means is, named after Larry Bird, that you can re-sign your free agents if they've been with you for 3 years, and it can go over the cap. But it's called the Bird exception. In the NFL, here's my new name. It's called the Dak Dilemma. If you're a football team that has a good quarterback, but he fills those 4 boxes, he's productive, the team wins, an occasional playoff win, he's reliable, mostly healthy, and has tremendous leverage. The NBA's got the Bird exception. The NFL has the Dak Dilemma. What do you do when a quarterback mostly fills those 4 boxes, but he's good and you have to pay him great money? You will become exactly what the Cowboys have been under Dak. Relevant and never elite. What you can't be in this league is chaotic at quarterback. And I think that's what makes the Dak Prescott situation. He's got the leverage. He is productive. He's mostly healthy. And when he is, they win. You'd like him to win more in the playoffs, but I'd like Lamar Jackson to win more in the playoffs. I'd like Josh Allen to win more in the playoffs. The Dak dilemma is real, and it's what half the teams in this league are facing. You cannot be special when you pay a good quarterback great money, and once again, I think the Cowboys will be trapped.
Okay, so this is actually a really fascinating segment. I really like this. I think it's a lot more nuanced. Well, not as nuanced because he's not saying too much, but he's mapping out the plan for it to be for like a nuanced discussion to me, because that the segment's over now, and to me that this is like a perfect jumping off point. So let's unpack this a bit. Okay, so I agree a lot with pretty much everything Colin has just said. Dak is a good quarterback. He's not great. He's not elite. Does he have moments where he plays elite and great? Without a doubt. But we've been over this before, where some players, what makes them a good quarterback or a successful quarterback, there's different fluctuations. Meaning that some quarterbacks, or we should just say players, but we'll just keep it to quarterbacks. Some quarterbacks, their baseline is good, and then they have some moments where they can do great and elite things. And now at what frequency can they do that at? That is now where you map onto how great or what is the level of play of this quarterback. Who is he in the grand scheme of things? Patrick Mahomes very regularly plays great and elite. And when you need him to do elite great things, he has arguably like a success rate, again, making up numbers here, 90%, right? He doesn't succeed 100% of the time, right? He can't win every single game, but he has a very high success rate. And then you have other players where maybe they don't have the ability to get that high. They can't do anything elite or great, but they are just solidly good. We have lots of players like that. A lot of backup quarterbacks are like that. And then to me, this is where this points out a lot with backup quarterbacks, because that's why we see so many backup quarterbacks get that mania, because a lot of backup quarterbacks are good. They can do great and elite things, but not consistently, right? They can do it 30% of the time, 40% of the time. They can ball out in a massive game and then play absolutely awful. And that's what makes them a backup quarterback, because they don't have that consistency factor. You hear a lot of statements, and to me, this always makes me laugh. People say, if only he could do this more regularly, he would be so much better, or we would have so much success. And it's like, well, if he could do that more regularly, then he would not be a backup, or he would not be good. He would be great. He would be elite. What makes the truly great and elite players are the ones that can do this at such a regular, consistent basis. Plenty of players have shot a higher percentage of Steph Curry from three for a game, 2 games, 3 games, 10 games, not over seasons, not over hundreds of games. That's the difference. And it's the exact same thing with all players, and especially quarterbacks. So Dak is a good quarterback who at times can do great and elite things. Then that gives you the perception of, he is a great and elite quarterback. Look what he can do. Look what he just needs a little bit more help. He just needs a little bit more support. And then we can really unlock that. And I just think that that's where the conversation starts to get lost, because Dak has been given a pretty good to great situation, right? He has not been part of a disaster franchise. He's been given competent coaching, competent coordinators, a great defense, great offensive weapons, great O-line, great running backs. He's been given a lot of things. So you would expect more success, and it's just not that. Because this is the issue that I always take with all of the people that act like Dak is so amazing. Because if they say he's amazing, okay, let's just say he is amazing. He is great. That means we're saying that he's great based off of the regular season, because he hasn't had true great success come time playoffs. And if he's been playing great, that means he probably has great coaching, great team, great players around him, great everything, right? He's not playing great and everyone else is a bum. He's not just dragging the Cowboys. No one believes that. I don't think even big Dak fans could believe that. So then why is it come time playoffs, when now the competition gets real and tough and hard, they suddenly can't win? They suddenly can't win the big games. They suddenly can't win against winning teams. And yes, lots of players do worse against winning teams, but Dak really drops. He really drops, and the Cowboys really drop. So again, if we say he's great, then you can't now blame the team. If they're great in the regular season and then they suddenly fail in the playoffs, you can't just say, oh, well, this is not Dak's fault. They didn't have the right players, or the players didn't step up. Everybody wants to blame everything but Dak. Well, then who was responsible for winning in the regular season then? You understand what I'm saying? So that's where the conversation starts to get really messy and everyone just gets confused in themselves. So the Dak Dilemma is really a great thing. I really do, because you will absolutely win games and be relevant with Dak. Any team should, for the most part, be very happy to have Dak as your quarterback because he's competent, he's non-controversial. I think he's a great leader. He's a good person. He's good in front of the camera, the mic. He's a lot of what you would want. He is a good, solid quarterback. You're not going to have to go into any game and really think, oh, God, what are we going to get out of Dak? When we have lots of quarterbacks where we have no idea what you're getting. You're like, is this guy going to even be able to stay healthy? Is he going to throw 7 interceptions or 7 touchdowns? I don't know what I'm going to get. And that's a classical backup quarterback scenario. And even some of the bottom starters, quite honestly. Sam Howell, I don't want to name all these random names. Sam Darnold with the Jets, right? It was just like, what are we getting here? What is this? So that's that aspect. But if you do look at these 4 markers, production, he is productive. Team success, the team obviously does have success. Health, he stays healthy for the most part. And leverage. This is the interesting question. Leverage to me is, I don't know. I don't think anyone knows because it all depends on what the Cowboys want. I think if you can convince Dak to take maybe like a Kirk Cousins type of contract, that's where you're golden. And I'm not going to pretend like I have all the answers from a salary cap. I love how a lot of people come here and they're like, he should get paid $54 million. And it's like, okay, well, listen, guys, they have like literal experts whose main focus is to just manage the salary cap and all this. And we're just like throwing out numbers. Oh, I would not pay him any more than $35 million. And it's like, it's a hard thing to do because we don't know where all of this other money is coming and going. It's very difficult, especially because you don't know who they're keeping, how much money does Micah actually need to get, or CeeDee Lamb. It's a lot more difficult. So I like to kind of just put things in general categories. If you can win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott, if you pay him like he is Baker Mayfield or Kirk Cousins. That's it. If you pay him like he is better than Patrick Mahomes, which is essentially what he wants, he would be making more money than Patrick Mahomes, but you're not as good as Patrick Mahomes, then you can't be shocked that you're not winning like Patrick Mahomes. It does not work like that. It does not. You could pay Dak Prescott the money that Jared Goff just got if you had a very young team that didn't need to get paid. Then you can get away with it. Or maybe he was able to go to the 49ers, right? And he was able to pay, right? The 49ers works because they don't have to pay Brock Purdy $60 million. That's why everyone's talking about like what is going to happen. They can barely keep that team together right now. A lot of people want money. Purdy is going to get paid at least some money, obviously, right? He's not getting paid. He's getting paid basically nothing right now. And you have Ayuk wants money. Like other players want money. They're going to get paid. That's where it gets difficult. But that's also where it's fun, quite honestly, because if this was like baseball, then you could just pay everyone, and that's really not as fun. This is a lot more interesting because it makes decisions more difficult. These dilemmas are what's interesting. It's like, do you pay a quarterback a little bit more money and now you have to let go of a really good receiver, or is it better off to have really good receivers and an offensive line but maybe a slightly worse quarterback? Like, that's the fun part of this, right? And we all get to put on our GM hat and try to figure out like, what would we do? And to me, it's like talking to Dak, figuring out what does he want. It's been reported that he wants the $55-60 million a year. And if that's what he wants, you can't win a Super Bowl. So if you just want to be relevant, if you do just want to be able to make the playoffs, mess around the playoffs, maybe make an NFC championship game, maybe not, kind of compete with the 49ers, kind of not. You'll go back and forth with the Eagles for, over the years. Sometimes you're better than them. Sometimes they're better than you. Like you can do that and that can be fun. People are still high on the Cowboys. They're still talking about them. It's still all on the sports media. Fan base is still growing. People are still excited. It's still a thing. And some people that might be good enough for them. And that's okay if that's what you want. but we know that people want Super Bowls, or at least to get to Super Bowls. I personally rate a successful season based off of, are you getting to the conference championship games? Are you getting to Super Bowls? To me, that's what it is. It's not even about winning the division, because if you cannot win the division, and if you get to the NFC championship game or the Super Bowl, who cares about the division? Winning a division and then getting knocked out first round is not a successful season. So some people, it's like Super Bowl or bust, and I disagree with that. If you're a consistent team, if you are consistently a good competitive team, because it's not like I expect a team to make it to the NFC or AFC championship game year after year after year after year. Everything is within reason here. And so I just think that the Cowboys are in this weird situation where it's like, well, what do you want? I assume you want a Super Bowl. If that is the master goal, and that is the plan, and that is what you want, which I assume it is, then you can't pay Dak all that money. It's just not going to work. And we have the evidence not only from him, but then also from players all over the league for years now. It just does not work. So we can say we want Dak to get paid all the money in the world because we want to be fanboys, but that's not conducive to actually winning. And listen, he's not hurting for money. The dude has an insane amount of money already, and he's still going to get paid an insane amount of money. So I just think that it's this whole immediate next man up mentality where they have to constantly get paid more than the other person regardless of their skill level is absurd. I would be more inclined to give Dak Prescott like 100% guaranteed contract, but do it for like 2 years, 3 years for significantly less money. Like I would do like, again, I'm making things up here, just thinking out loud, $45 million a year, 100% guaranteed for the next 3 years. Be like, Dak, we're going to give it to you 100%. We'll give you another no trade clause. You're guaranteed to get this money. Injury, whatever, doesn't matter. Boom. 3 years. Again, I don't know. And see like how low you can get. Because to me, the guaranteed money is always silly. These quarterbacks end up getting all that money anyway. So the guaranteed money ends up being this, like a lot of them chase this guaranteed money because it is technically a hedge against like a career-ending injury, but is theoretically not every single dollar of Patrick Mahomes' money guaranteed. Are they going to cut him? What about Josh Allen? Are they really going to cut Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson? No, these players are going to fill out their contract, even if they're not playing that good, and they're going to make all that money. Again, unless their arm gets ripped off, like it's just not going to happen. And even then, the whole community in the world would say, that's such a tragedy. He should still get paid his money. And then they'll still pay the money. So it's like the whole guarantee thing is kind of silly, unless I'm missing something. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? What do you think the Cowboys should do with Dak Prescott? And what do you think the goal is with the Dak Prescott's contract? Like, can you win if you pay him $55-60 million a year? Or do you let him walk? Like, you know, what are the options? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you a part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.